Hi, I'm Charl Schwartzel from Stinger GC and welcome to my LIV lesson.
Clutch.
Money.
Wow.
That's the response of a champion. Charl Schwartzel dominating here.
In this drill, I'm going to explain how to use multiple different clubs for chipping.
Okay, I'm here. I want to explain something about chipping. What I got here, what I would call straightforward chip shots. I mean, this is something that you've hit a good shot at the flag and it's come up just short of the green. And what should be a straightforward up and down, I see people complicate it quite a lot. So what I've done here, I just want to show the increments that I use to use different clubs. It's much easier just to change clubs and use the exact same motion to get the same result. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pitch, I've always tried and do this, try and pitch the ball about a quarter of the way onto the green and let it release the last 3/4. I feel like I get more consistency the quicker I get it onto the green. And this is what I've done here. So this ball's just short of the green is where I would use a pitching wedge and it'll pitch about there. It'll be a short little swing and it'll roll to the hole. If I come back to this one, I've got a sand wedge lying here. It'll be the exact same sort of little swing. It'll pitch quarter around the green and it'll roll to the flag. And back there I've got a lob wedge for the same motion. You make it a lot more simple, especially on the front side of things.
I was taught the quicker you get the ball on the green, the more roll there is, the more consistency you're going to build. So all this whole thing is about being more consistent.
Okay, so I've got my pitching wedge here just short of the green, about 8 to 10 foot back. I've got a sand wedge and another 8 to 10 foot back on my lob wedge. And I'm going to use the same ball position, the same sort of shaft lean, and the same motion. And the ball's going to bounce in the same place and have pretty much the same sort of release. So I've got a pitching wedge, I put the ball on my back toe, and all I'm going to do is just almost a putting motion. At times I would even use my putting grip, but for this one I'm just going to use my normal golf grip. Very small motion, ball back on the toe, hands forward.
You know, these sort of things that I'm teaching, what I'm trying to explain with the different clubs is that most of the time with guys that are scared of chipping is the bigger the swing gets, the more they stop and the more they get tight, the more they get scared of the bad shot. So, you know, I try and mimic putting stroke. It's really just 8 o'clock, 4 o'clock position where we're chipping from. It's a short little motion.
I see a lot of guys who want to use a lob wedge from very short distance here. That just means with all this grain that I'm dealing with here, you got so much grain into you with the ball so far back and it becomes very inconsistent. This is a very consistent way to do it.
The lob wedge from the fringe of the green, you need to, so many factors, spin, height. The ball bouncing on the green can react weirdly. So the lower you get it with less spin, the quicker it rolls like a putt.
If I were to use a lob wedge from here, it'll be having to fly it a lot further up there, causing a lot more swing than I would need for where if I would just use a little pitching wedge and make a short little motion to get the same result.
So guys don't know how to chip with multiple clubs. Most of the time you see guy 20 yards short of the green, flag at the back, and then the lob wedge comes out. That's probably the hardest shot you can play unless your skill level is very high and you know that's how you do it. But you could have just used the gap wedge and made a smallish motion of a swing, the pitch quarter of the way onto the green and it rolls all the way to the back. Where with the lob wedge, I've seen guys chip the green miss from there. You know, where you could have just taken a putter and putted it up there and been much better. So
okay, so I've moved 10 feet back. Now I've got my sand wedge, and again, what I'm trying to do is simplify it. Ball on the right toe, hands forward, and again, it's just going to be a small little motion, trying to pitch a ball in exactly the same place. So if I were to use a pitching wedge from here, I would have to adjust. You know, you would have to put the ball forward and you would have to sort of create a little bit of loft. And with it being really grainy, you're going to start duffing it and it's going to be so inconsistent. So the most consistent way to chip is with the ball back, hands forward, and actually very little wrist movement. It's very simple motion. is the most simplified way to chip. Once you start obviously getting creative with it, that requires a lot of practice and also being able to read the lies correctly, because a lot of times with this grainy lies you get, you hit a lot of duff shots.
Short game, I always say secret to short game is to be able to read your lie, whether that's chipping off grass in the rough or bunker play. You need to be able to read what sort of lie you've got.
Okay, so now we started at the green with 10 feet back, another 10 feet back, and I'm on my lob wedge now. And again, just trying to keep it same motion as I did there to here, same technique. Ball on the back, hands forward, very square club face, and just a small same motion as what I did at the front there with the pitching wedge.
Look, chipping is hard. You know, you've seen pros that go through bad chipping yips, if you want to call it. I mean, you know, you lose confidence in chipping. Is for some reason, same with putting. It can be very challenging mind-wise. But I seldom see anybody, for that matter, even pros. You seldom see them actually get it to the hole. Any shot, for that matter. But chipping, you get so much closer to the green. You're close to the hole. So if you're a good chipper, you start thinking you can maybe chip a few in.
Okay, so we got a scenario here where we've hit the ball behind a bunker and flag is just on the other side of the bunker. Can't putt it. Can't hit a bump and run. Even a straight-faced normal chip shot is going to be way too low. The ball's going to pitch on the green and roll way past the flag. So it sort of forces us to hit the ball high from here. It is a higher risk shot than your straightforward chip shot, but we've got no other option here. Earlier I liked to chip with very little wrist movement, but this doesn't allow this. So this flop shot motion is very similar to what you're going to use in your full golf swing. So there's going to be wrist movement, it's going to be more body movement involved, because you need speed in this. You need a bigger motion. See a lot of people get maybe a bit scared and they only go like stiff wrist, makes the ball come out low and spinny. That's a very different shot. So I'll show you how that normally comes out. So I set it up for a flop, but now I don't cock the wrist. I go like this, and it's inconsistent for me. You need speed in the head. That's why I like to use the weight of the head when you're going to hit a flop shot.
To consistently get a good flight with a lob wedge, a 60-degree wedge, you need to have the ball more middle stance. You need to have weight to the left side, a little bit of shaft lean, so it's still a sweeping action. That's when you're going to get consistent penetrating flight, and that's when you start controlling the distance of a lob wedge better.
So trying to hit a flop shot, but if I don't use full motion, you know, and it's natural cock of the wrist. It's not trying to excessively cock the wrist. This for me is a normal, how I would swing the golf club, is how I hit this flop shot. So the way I do it is you got to open the face. A lot of people that I play with say, okay, they're going to flop the ball, and they hardly open the club face. The club face stays maybe 10 degrees open. If you're going to hit a ball up, open the club face. If you have it too square and you make a big swing at it, club bounces or turns on you and the ball flies 10, 20 yards past the flag.
Most amateur swings, not all, most fall back. It's a common fault that we see when playing pro-ams, which means they adding loft. So if you do that same swing, if your ball position is too neutral, with a little bit of fallback, the ball just goes straight up in the air, you know, and you can hit it as hard as you like. Actually, the harder you hit it doing that technique, the shorter it goes.
So don't be scared to open the club face. We want to stand wide. We want to put the ball forward. We want to get this ball going up high. And I like for the ball to come up softly. Now the way to do that is I open the face, put the ball forward, stand wide, get low, and make sure you open it, and then use nice big swing and just use the weight of the club. That works out good.